waves of the vast Atlantic roll into the black rocks of the North Antrim coast, and the westerly winds sweep along this beautiful beach at Port Ballantrae, as they have blown for millions of years. But 81 years ago these waves carried a precious cargo onto these golden sands. They bore the mortal remains of Antonio Nardone, who had been interned in June 1940 after Italy declared war on Britain, and sent to Canada on a ship called the Arandora Star. Alas, more than 800 of the men aboard that ship lost their lives when she was torpedoed 90 miles northwest of this lovely beach. Their bodies would be washed ashore along 600 miles of coastline, from the Western Isles of Scotland to Achill Island in County Mayo. Very few of them were identified, and when we visited the grave of another victim, Giuseppe Capella, on Rathlin Island, not far from here, we were asked to find your father's grave as well.
Hello again, Ernie.
Hello again, Paul. Ciao a tutti la famiglia Nardone. Hello to the whole Nardone family.
We knew nothing of this disaster until Alan Davis of Newcastle asked us for a photo of Giuseppe Capella's headstone on Rathlin Island, off the North Antrim coast. Then Alan told us that the Nardone family had a cutting, saying that Antonio's body had been found at the Black Rock off the coast of Cork and interred in a nearby cemetery. Could we help find his grave?
After talking to you, Ernie and Paul, we began a journey that would take us thousands of miles and 15 years, from Rathlin Island, where we started, off the North Antrim coast, then down the west coast of Ireland. Then from our home in County Down to the mountain villages around Bardi in Italy, where there is a memorial chapel to all who died on that tragic day.
You told us that you had seen a newspaper cutting which said that your father's body had been found at Black Rock off County Cork on the south coast of Ireland. We soon found that there are at least 22 Black Rocks around the Irish coastline. Then we spent a fortnight along the west coast, searching the 1940 newspapers and the graveyards, which did lead us to discover the long-forgotten graves of many unidentified Italians in 29 cemeteries around the northwest coasts of Ireland. But we never found that newspaper report, and we never found the grave of your father. Yet in all those years the Nardone family never gave up hope. At last, in February this year, a new computer search program for British newspapers took all of 1 second to come up with this report from the Londonderry Sentinel. Your father's body was found at the Black Rocks near Port Ballantrae, in Northern Ireland. In his pocket was a membership card from the Middlesbrough Co-op containing his name and address. If only we had seen that cutting 15 years ago. Here's the view from our holiday house in Port Ballantrae, looking along the Blackrock Strand to the Black Rocks, just above the wee white shelter which is used by the golfers. We've walked past the Black Rocks hundreds of times on our way to the Giant's Causeway, which is just beyond the next headland. A few miles further on is White Park Bay, where another body was found the same day. He wore civilian clothes and he was probably Italian. Along the Antrim coast that week they recovered the bodies of 4 seamen. Almost certainly they all came from the Arandora Star. The newspaper says that the bodies of your father and the man from White Park were taken the 12 miles to Ballycastle for burial in the historic graveyard of Bonamargee. And that's where we're going next. Brenda's getting the car out now. Andiamo a visitare la tomba di tuo padre.
Well, Ernie, let's go and visit your father's grave.
We're heading north on the M2 motorway, and we travel some 45 miles or so, and it's not very interesting, to be honest. But eventually we reached this roundabout for the Ballycastle road. And this wee road has hardly changed since I first cycled along it. Must be 65 years ago. Mind you, I couldn't do it now. Ahead is Knocklade, which simply means wide hill. It's the first of the green hills of Antrim, and it overlooks Ballycastle. Ballycastle too is a lovely wee town. It has hardly changed in a century, apart from the cars of course. Indeed, when Tesco tried to open a supermarket on the outskirts, the local people chased them. They like their lovely wee town and its shops just as they are. Now we're going to park along here and we'll walk up the hill to the tremendous viewpoint above the harbour. We've got a wonderful day for this wonderful place. Look north to Rathlin Island, 8 miles away, and that's where our story began, at the grave of Giuseppe Capella. On the horizon is the Mull of Kintyre, and just coming into view from the right are the 600-foot cliffs of Fairhead. Below us, the ferry is waiting in the harbour to go to Rathlin. And on the far side of the town, away in the trees to the right, you can see the tops of ancient Bonamarghe Friary, our destination at last. Bonamarghe is a Franciscan friary which was built more than 500 years ago. It's reached by a small footpath running down from the main road.
Well, Ernie, it's time for us to say goodbye, and we're going to leave you alone to visit the grave of your father at last.
We're thinking of you, Ernie.
Goodbye from both of us, or should we say arrivederci, until we meet the next time. Goodbye.